If you've ever been asking yourself, what is the best deck to climb currently? Often metas can really evolve rather quickly, and you never really know, hey, what's popular right now. This video is meant for you. In this new weekly segment, I'm gonna go over all the top decks this recent week of Hearthstone. Hello everyone, my name is John, and the beginning of my 2022 has been a wild mix of streaming, video editing, and Pokemon AAECAaoIAA. Time well spent, after all. In this new weekly segment I'm recording, we are gonna look over all the recent trends in the Hearthstone meta. We're gonna see what new cool decks are popping up, what the top competitors are playing, and we're also gonna go over stats from both Aegis Replay and the Vicious Syndicate review. Eventually, later down the road, I also plan on covering things like Master Tour deck lists and Grandmaster deck lists. Basically, this is gonna be a weekly thing to keep you all updated on what happens in Hearthstone. As with anything that's new though, there are certainly things I can do to make this better. So any sort of feedback would be super appreciated if you put it in the comment section below. Tell me if you have any suggestions for the show, if there's something you liked, if there's something you disliked. Anything would be super helpful for me to continue making this better. Lastly, I'll be talking about some amazing people in this review, and I will put all of their links in the description below. Really, if you're interested in this sort of stuff, go ahead and give them a follow because of the amazing work they put in. All right, without further ado, let's get started. So the first section is going to be pretty much picking up top competitors that have posted high legend ranks on the ladder. Most of this stuff I get from Ahirun's Twitter, which most of you already know, but if you don't, Ahirun is the best source on Twitter for up-to-date deck lists. The first two are Yekvais and Shuso. They have both been piloting Burn Shaman, which I'll check out my guide while you're at it, to high legend ranks. Both of them getting top 10 placements, with Yekvais reaching rank 1 legend. We see compared to the list I posted in the guide that Yekvais has been, sorry for the pronunciation by the way, has been cutting the Novice Slappers for 2 Imprisoned Phoenix. I mean, which is a pretty cool continuation of the deck. If it's better or not, I don't know yet. Like, I haven't played it, but story here between their two decks is that Burn Shaman is an incredibly good choice for ladder. Some of you out there might wonder, what does absolute peak level Hearthstone have in common with the Pokemon AAECAaoIAA? That is proven by our beloved player, Rami, who was streaming Pokemon AAECAaoIAA with one hand and playing Shadow Priest with the other, going 18-5 from 289 legend to 70. If you want a deck to have a quick game at the bathroom, or if you're bored during class or during a work meeting, you know, just need something else to do on the side, maybe you want to play Shadow Priest. So Satan, Fino, has popularized the alignment Druid again, being the only person in the entire solar system that is happy about this. Alignment took the nerf from 7 to 8 mana, and we actually had a pretty peaceful, nice time in Hearthstone. Meanwhile, those happy days are gone. Alignment Druid is supposedly back. If doing nothing for the first few turns in the game and then playing your entire deck is your thing, Alignment Druid is good. If you want to beat up on combo decks, if you want to beat up on control decks, then you just want to concede every single game you ever queue into aggro, Alignment's a good bring. Next up we have Shio. Post-patch, Outlook of all archetypes has been popping up again. Even though Ruined Mithril Rod has been going over 2 nerfs, Outlook still is a force to be reckoned with. You can see here that Shio has achieved a very impressive 17 free record. Not the largest sample size, but you know, still impressive the way to top 50 legend. Outlook is a great choice if you want to beat up on things like Face Hunter and Aggro Priest. Basically, if you're tired of the pesky aggro decks, having like 60% win rate plus in all those matchups. It's also decent versus the Shaman decks in the meta, decent in both Burn Shaman and Quest Shaman. But the deck has a pretty solid spot in the meta, and I'm not surprised to see Shio do this well with it. Level 9001 revitalized an archetype that's been kinda hidden lately, which is the Buff Paladin. We see, instead of the Libram package, we're playing cards like Nerubian Egg and Hold the Bridge. The Sunwing Squawker with Blessing of the Fort is some of the strongest things you can do against certain decks in this meta. They say themselves in the tweet that it beats Feldh, Quest Warlock, Ram Druid, and Poison Rogue. That checks out to me. The only issue is that Shaman is quite popular on ladder right now, and if you queue into a lot of Shamans, then this might not be the deck you want to be queuing up on ladder. But overall, super solid deck if you've been wanting to play a Paladin deck that isn't Libram Pala. Speaking of Ram Druid, Pizza reached top 10 legend with a new take on Ram Druid, which is highlighted by the usage of Vandar and going back to Carnival Clowns. I'm not sure who came up with this archetype. Maybe it was Pizza. Super sorry for not knowing this. But it's been popping up in qualifiers and on ladder quite a bit recently. I'm not sure if the stats back it up to be better than the regular Ram Druid list we've seen being played for the patch. Honestly, like with how the evolution of the meta, it might very well be. Anyway, for other Ram Druid lovers, this is a deck to keep an eye on. Last of the top ladder placements of this week is a favorite of mine that just never seems to go away. Everyone's favorite, the Demon Seed Handlock. Gengo reached number 3 legend with a very impressive win rate of 70% over almost 50 games. Through their own words, it's just a good deck that farms bad decks. Like at the beginning of a patch, that might be exactly what you want. The deck's weak spots are probably when it comes to aggro, say Face Hunter. It has pretty much really bad matchups, and most of them are decent. Handlock has pretty much since Quest came out been one of my favorite decks, and I'm happy to see that it's not going away. But besides top competitors where we get some of the good decks, also like the sample size kind of low, I wanted to take a look at both Aces Replay and Vicious Syndicate that provide tons of useful data weekly. See what's going on there. When it comes to Aegis Replay, I will be sorting things through the last 7 days. And usually the trends of the meta go that what happens within top 1000 then usually trickles down slowly but steadily into the lower rank bracket. So that's why I'm going to be mainly focusing on that. If this is some feedback, like, oh, could you please look at how things look in Diamond or like any other rank, I'll take it into consideration. We see that the most played decks over the last 7 days, West Hand Warlock, Thief Rogue, surprisingly, I haven't really faced that at all myself. Face Hunter, Quest Shaman, and Poison Rogue, followed by a bit of Quest Lifesteal Demon Hunter. In terms of win rate, we're working with quite low sample size here. We see Burn Shaman at the very top, followed by Quest Warlock, Beast Druid, and Ping Mage being third and fourth place, which is pretty interesting. Ping Mage especially we're gonna take a closer look at. And then you see quite a lot of Shamans, some different Warlocks. There seems to be a pretty well-rounded and diverse meta overall. I'll highlight the Ping Mage because that's probably the most interesting deck list to have a high win rate within top 1000. We've seen competitors like Bunny Hopper post about this deck, and it's actually being more real than most other top players think. We see the addition of Sheep Spells, Multicaster, and Snowblind Harpy is making this deck surprisingly a force to be reckoned with, even at a high rank. It's been a deck that's seen a lot of play outside of Legend, but haven't really been popularized within Legend. I'm interested to see where the numbers go from here. And lastly, from the Vicious Syndicate weekly meta report, it's covering all the classes and all the decks in like way more extensively than I am in this video, so you should really check it out. But I wanted to cover at the end of their report, they always have a meta breaker of the week. This week we see Jerry Rig Beast Druid as a meta breaker according to their stats. See it being quite similar to old Beast Druid. I myself was playing a build with Pathmaker, but this one being a bit more aggressive with cards like Vibrant Skirl, Soda Soil, Jerry Rigs to basically beat down the mid-range decks of the meta. Say Ram Druid is for sure the deck's best matchup, and it's just a pretty overall solid aggro deck, which also has pretty good matchups into other aggro. It makes sense to why Vicious Syndicate holds in such high regards. And with that, that's a wrap for our first week. Thank you to everyone who contributed to Aegis Replay, to the competitors, to Syndicate for all of the amazing content they do. As for me, what did you think about this? Was it good? Is there anything you'd like to see? Anything I could do better? Even is there a certain deck that I went over that you want to learn more about in depth? If there's popular demand, I'm down to go more in depth on any of these. But what did you think about like just a quick weekly update on what's happening within the Hearthstone constructed meta? I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts below. As always, if you like the content, I'd really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. And you can also follow me on Twitch, where I stream daily. Well, I'll see you next Friday for another segment of Top of the Ladder. Bye.